In this video, we're going to give you a start to finish guide on how to set up the Rode PodMic properly. Not only are we going to show you what equipment you need to make this microphone work, because as you probably discovered, you literally just get the microphone when you buy the Rode PodMic, but we're also going to show you all the tips and tricks that we use to make the Rode PodMic sound as good as possible. Now, for the purposes of this video right now, you are listening to the lav mic that's clipped onto me. You can see the logo up in the top corner that indicates that. When we get this microphone fired up and set up properly, this will switch to a picture of the Rode PodMic, and you know that you'll be listening to that, so you can hear all the changes and adjustments that we make. Also, for the purposes of this video, we are talking about a bunch of different equipment that might be related to the Rode PodMic. We have links down in the description below with current up-to-date pricing from a variety of online retailers to make sure that you are getting the best price possible if you're looking to buy anything that we discussed during the setup of this video. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, when you buy the Rode PodMic, you get the Rode PodMic. That is it. A lot of people can be confused sometimes as to how this thing actually makes sound or how it gets connected to the computer. That's why we put this together. The first thing that we recommend for your Rode PodMic is you need to find a stand. For years, I used these inexpensive table stands. They work really good. You can screw the Rode PodMic into it and just set it down on the table in front of you. If you're doing a boardroom table, podcast style, with 2 or 3 of these at a table, these stands actually work really well. The step up from that, for even if you're at a boardroom table or if you're at your main desk, is some type of articulating boom arm. The Rode PSA 1 Plus here is what I use. It's my favorite everyday stand. The reason I love this stand so much and the reason I recommend it for the Rode PodMic is that the Rode PodMic is really heavy. It's 2 pounds. That is really heavy by microphone standards. But the Rode PSA 1 is made by the same company, and it's actually designed with the Rode PodMic in mind. Not only does this make it easier for you, not only do you need a stand for the Rode PodMic anyway, but this is easy. It's built for the weight. And my favorite thing about this stand right here is no matter how you orient it, it sticks exactly where you put it. You don't need any tools, nothing. It is shocking how many stands on the market drift or float or move around on you. The Rode stands have always been perfect. For me, I like to have the Rode PodMic right like that, and this stand will do the job for me. Next, you need some way to connect your microphone to the computer. The Rode PodMic is a dynamic, broadcast dynamic microphone. It's surprising to a lot of people that you can't just connect this directly to your computer. There are a lot of reasons for that, but for the purposes of this video, we're just going to say it's not possible. In my mind, you only have 3 viable options to connect the Rode PodMic to your computer, and all 3 of those are in front of me. You need some type of an audio interface to take this analog signal from the microphone to boost it appropriately without adding too much noise or buzz or humming or clicking or anything like that for your computer, for your live stream or your podcast. When I look at an interface, I look for a couple things. In the previous generation of interfaces, you needed some type of inline preamp. These things cost about $100 to boost the signal of the Rode PodMic to get it into your computer properly. So I want an audio interface that basically has that built in, and these 3 are all good. They give you enough gain or enough level to do the job. Next, I like audio interfaces that have physical mute buttons. It's shocking how many devices on the market do not have a physical mute button on it. It's really helpful to just shut it down if you need to cough, sneeze, or talk offline for a second. You want a physical mute button, and all of these devices will do that for you. Third, you want something that can power a set of high-quality headphones. I like 250 ohm headphones. I have the Beyerdynamic DT990 Pros here, and all of these can do that. Next, and this is probably the most important part, is you want a software suite for your computer that gives you the option to mix other things. All 3 of these options allow you to mix things like music, game sound, other guests, phone calls, all of that into your stream or recording with the software suite that's included. So that is powerful. You don't want a standalone audio interface that can't talk to a phone call or a Skype meeting or music in the background or whatever you're trying to do with your recording. You want a tool set that not only brings the microphone into your recording, but gives you other tools as well, all baked into the interface. And these 3 options are good for that. Let's quickly talk about when I would recommend one of these over the other. First of all, for a full-size podcast, you cannot beat the Rodecaster Pro 2. This thing is going to be the standard podcast studio for the next 10 years. I have no doubt in my mind. You can connect 4 microphones to it. You don't need to connect it to your computer. It'll record straight to an SD card. You get all kinds of sound effects, muting, power, routing. Everything you need for a standalone 4-person podcast is in this device, and it is by far the best in its class for that. It's a little expensive, but when you actually consider what is in it, it's dirt cheap compared to what you would have had to spend even 2 or 3 years ago to pull off the same thing. So if you have a 4-person podcast or up to 4 people, get that device, no questions asked. If you're a live streamer, I highly recommend the Elgato suite. They have so many tools and all their devices play nice together. Everything from their studio lighting to their microphone preamp and tools and mixing, everything is integrated with the Elgato Stream. It's built for streamers. If streaming is your goal, I love recommending the Elgato stuff. It's affordable, it's high value, and there's a whole ecosystem there to support you properly with good-looking, easy-to-use products that are powerful, that can power hard-to-power microphones like the Rode PodMic here. The one I'm going to use today is a brand new product from Focusrite. Focusrite had the best-selling audio interface of all time. They took what they learned from that and made it even easier. They made the preamp better and gave you more tools for standalone podcasts and streamers. Next, you need some type of XLR cable to connect your microphone to your audio interface. Now, there are a lot of options out there. I'm going to give you some things to look for. For me, I only buy XLR cable with black connectors. I hate when you see a silver connector sticking out of the back of a microphone on a podcast. It's just ugly and whatever. Next, you want a star quad cable. If you're in a studio environment, there's 2 types of cables. There's basically a balanced XLR cable, which has 2 wires in it. Then there's a star quad, which basically splits that signal across 4 wires, so it doubles it up for redundancy, has more shielding. It's called star quad. In a studio environment where you have more interference and speakers and computers and all that in a really small space, the star quad design is proven to be better, and the only thing it gives up is cable flexibility. The cables are a little bit more stiff. They're a little bit more expensive, but if you're buying this one-time expense, just get the proper cable and you're going to be happy with it. For me, there's the Mogami Studio Gold, which is the most expensive. It's the gold standard. It's great. My favorite daily cable is a little bit less expensive. It's the Canary Star Quad. You can get it in a variety of colors. So if you're doing a podcast or whatever, you can do that. You can run all different colors to help keep track of what's where. The other thing you want to keep in mind with XLR cable is don't buy a 6-foot cable. You would look at this and say, Jordan just has to connect that microphone to there. A 6-foot cable will be tons. Just by running it down the boom arm, I come up about 3 or 4 inches short every single time. And you end up working things around your desk. Never works out the way that you want it to. Get a 10-foot cable always. It allows you to run things a little bit cleaner on your desk or podcast. I've never regretted getting a 10-foot cable. I've always regretted buying a 6-foot. After that, you connect the XLR cable to the back of your Rode PodMic. Now you want to make a clean job of it. If you're new to audio, you're usually a little bit more messy with your cable. As you get going, you get more picky about how you run your cable. Run it down the boom arm, nice and clean, and then you take it to the back of your audio interface here, and you connect your XLR cable. Next, before we set up the microphone, you can't set up the level on your microphone without having good mic positioning. A dynamic microphone like the Rode PodMic should be within a fist of your microphone. For my preference, I like having it down, pointed up. I don't like it like this because if you talk directly into the microphone, you get those P and B sounds that sound horrible. And if you do it like this, I find for my money, it helps to prevent that breathing noise. If you're breathing between words, that quick sound that can be really irritating if you hear it on a podcast over and over and over. By just angling the microphone out of the way a little bit, either by the side or underneath, you can get rid of some of that sound and it sounds a whole lot better. Next, for the Rode PodMic, as I said before, you want to avoid those P and B sounds. They say that there is internal pop filtering. I don't believe them. I always find that you need an external pop filter with the Rode PodMic, so I'm going to put that on now. Again, if you do want links to any of this, it is linked down in the description below. Next, we need to turn up the level on our audio interface. I want to cover something really quickly with setting level. The loudest that a digital microphone in a digital system, so it's an analog microphone going through a digital audio interface to your computer, the loudest it could ever be is 0 dB. If your audio is 0 dB, it's going to be peaked, clipped, and distorted. You will ruin your recording. To be safe, it's recommended that you have a 12 decibel kind of safety margin. So if you're doing your podcast and you're laughing or telling jokes, you're not ruining your audio. You want to leave some buffer on the high end, and you want to record somewhere between -12 and -18. That's where your loudest moments are. Your peak should be between -12 dB and -18. You can always boost your audio later, but you can never recover your audio if it's peaked. So we're going to turn up the level on this audio interface. If you look over at the computer right now, you can see that the level is coming up. I'm peaking at -25, -21, -15. So -15, -12.4 there. I'm going to turn down just a little bit. And that is exactly where I want to be recording. That is everything I need to be doing to have a good, clean recording. Now, just for kicks, so I can make my point, I'm going to turn this all the way up so you can hear what it sounds like. This is what the Rode PodMic sounds like if you turn it up too much, and you can never fix this. I'm going to turn it back down now. Turn it back down, reset everything. So now I'm set up, so I'm peaking at -17 again, which is perfect. Turn up just a little bit. So when it was distorted there, it's done. The recording is ruined. You can never save that one clip. So when you set your gain, set it between -12 and -18 dB. Next, let's talk about adding some post-processing to make this microphone sound even better. Now, my advice when you're thinking about post-processing or processing the sound of your microphone at all is that you want to think about how it is sounding and working with everything else going on. If it's just a 4-person podcast, I say let her rip, make your voice sound however you want. If you want that big AM radio trust and authority, then you can go with that big bass setting with a ton of compression, and that can sound really good if that's what you're trying to do. If you're a live streamer, you need to think a little bit more about how you mix your voice with other frequencies from what you're doing. If you're critiquing audio, if you're critiquing videos online, or if you're doing game noise, like I said, you want to boost frequencies that add to the intelligibility of your voice amongst what else is going on, and you want to make some cuts with your voice. So what might sound horrible as a standalone microphone setting might serve your purposes at the live stream or a kind of reaction video or something like that better. The best example I have for something like this is if you go to a concert, every single instrument on that stage is filtered like crazy. The lead singer's voice is really just squeezed into a tiny frequency range. The kick drum is way down low. The bass guitar is next to it. They EQ the keyboard so it never interferes with something like an acoustic guitar. Everything is slotted in its own frequency range, so when that wall of sound comes at you, you can actually hear every instrument nice and clean. That's what audio mixing is. And if you're new to audio, I would encourage you to think about that from the very start, rather than just, how do I make my voice sound the biggest? You want to make sure that it's clear amongst what else is going on. So that's something to listen to. I have a ton of videos on how to do that, but something that I just want you to have in the back of your mind. We're going to go through some modes here so you can see what I'm saying. I'm going to turn on the enhanced mode of the Focusrite Vocaster 1 here. By default, it's clean. You should have heard, if you have headphones on, that it kind of chops off the lower frequencies, adds a little bit of compression, narrows the dynamic range. It might make it sound just a little bit more processed, but definitely more clean. A clean setting would generally take your microphone out of the subwoofer of whoever is listening, make it a little bit easier to listen to, or if they're in the car listening to your podcast or something, you're not going to rattle their sub. If you want a smoother version with more frequency range, the warm one, you can kind of tell, boost it up a little bit. Now, this wouldn't play as nice if you're live streaming with game sound or something like that. The low end of this voice would mess with the music and the sound effects that your stream is hearing, and it would actually make it sound worse and more muddy. Next, we have the bright. On face value, this is my least favorite setting. It sounds horrible. It's really thin, it's pinchy up top, it's like compressed. I just don't like this, but I guarantee if you put this sound in with game noise, everybody would hear every word that I'm saying. And at the end of the day, that's the whole point of a live stream. I want them to hear me, and I want them to hear the game sound. I don't want it to be muddy. I don't want them squinting to hear me. I want my voice to stand out amongst everything else. So on face value, I hate the sound of this, but I guarantee I would use it if I was live streaming with something like game sound in the background. Next, we have the radio. This is what I was talking about before, that big, overcompressed, boosted low end AM radio. It gives you a ton of authority. If you're doing a sports show or just a random podcast where it's just you talking, this will give you more strength and authority, and a lot of people do like this setting for that purpose. So that's exactly how I would set up and how I think about setting up the Rode PodMic. If you are getting this microphone, or if this microphone's in front of you, my biggest takeaway here is get a pop filter on it, put it on an isolating boom arm, get an audio interface for it that can power it without needing extra outboard gear. Get a high quality XLR cable. It's a little bit expensive. It can be, some of these cables are half the price of the microphone. It's a one-time expense, and then you're done with it. The last thing you need in your life is a bad cable. And if you have any other questions about the Rode PodMic, please leave a comment down in the comment section below. If you are looking for pricing or specs again for any of this stuff, we have links down in the description below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.